So let's get started. In our previous class, we have discussed some basics of what is Selenium automation and why we need to go with Selenium with Java, and what is WebDriver, what are different components of Selenium. And what is the WebDriver architecture. So we have seen some basics on what is Selenium automation. Now start with basics of Java. The minimum programming that we need to understand in order to write the scripts in Selenium. So that we will start from today. So for that we need to know few terminologies what is the keyword. So if we say keyword, what does that mean? So in Java we have 48 predefined keywords. So these are those 48 predefined keywords. We cannot discuss about all these keywords on a single day. So we'll start with the one which is highlighted. Someone is saying something.
Please mute your audios.
Okay, we'll start with the ones which is highlighted. We'll start with the ones which is highlighted, which are highlighted in red color. So it is not possible for us to discuss about all these 48 keywords on a single day. We'll discuss slowly. And so we'll discuss all these keywords in our 20 classes. Don't worry about that. But for today, we'll try to discuss the ones which are highlighted in red. Don't worry about that. We'll discuss each and every keyword. So keywords are nothing but uh, the predefined words which have a particular meaning. That means, so if I say Boolean, that means it have a specific meaning. If I say byte, it has specific meaning. So if it is abstract, means it has certain meaning. So they have predefined meanings which Java has defined. So each and every keyword have their own specific meaning. So we'll discuss them. Don't worry. What is a keyword? What is these things? We'll discuss one by one. Now, the next word is identifier. What is meant by identifier? That means name given for a variable or a method or a package or class. And so identifiers are nothing but the rules for providing a name. Identifier means the rules for giving a name. Rules for giving names for variables, methods, package, and class. So just like that, we cannot give any name for any method or variable or package. For giving a name, there are some rules. What are that rules means? Alphanumeric characters, including dollar and underscore. So the name may contain alphanumeric characters like dollar or underscore. Apart from that, from these two alphanumeric characters, it will not allow any other characters like percentage, asterisk. Alphanumeric characters are the ones which are present on top of the number buttons on your keyboard, like exclamatory mark, at the rate, hash, percentage, ampersand, asterisk. So these are alphanumeric characters. Apart from dollar and underscore, it will not allow any other alphanumeric character. And it should not start with a digit, or it should not start with a keyword, reserved keyword. That means any variable name, because these keywords already have a specific meaning, we cannot use these keywords as a name for any variable or key or class or anything else. So we should not use these keywords as names for any other thing. These are reserved keywords. So these are certain rules that we need to follow when we are naming a variable, a method, or a package or class. These are a set of rules. So these rules, we call them as identifier. What is an identifier means? The names given for variable, method, package, or class, and the particular rules we need to follow when we are giving the names. These are those rules. Okay. The next one is, for now, I'll skip this slide. We'll come back to this slide once we discuss about, 1 minute. Okay. Once we discuss about what is a variable. Now we have seen the identifier is name given for a variable. But what is this variable? What is this method? What is a package? What is a class? We'll discuss all these things one by one. Now for today, we'll see what is a variable. Okay, now let me move. Okay, now I want to store, I want to do this operation. I want to do the addition operation. I want to add two numbers like say 15 and 10. So I want to do this addition operation. For that, what I have to do? First, I have to read these two data. That means I have to get these two datas. Like I have to read the data 15, I have to read the data 10. In order to add two numbers, first I have to get those two numbers. So I'll get these two numbers, but just like that, I cannot leave it. Somewhere I have to store it in the memory first. So when I read some data, that means I have to store that in a particular memory location. Suppose this is my memory location. So these are the blocks of memory. These are different blocks of memory. This is my memory location. And for each and every block, there will be an address. That means there will be plenty of memory block like this in my memory. So for each and every block, there will be a particular address. An address will be assigned for them. So that we can, with that address, we can access these memory blocks. So this is my memory, and each and everything we call it as a block. So this is one memory block, memory block like this. So for each and every memory block, we'll have an address will be there. Through that address only, we will be able to access that memory block. Suppose soon after, when I read the data 15, that will be stored in any random location. In any random location, somewhere it will be stored in the memory. Suppose it is stored in this memory block. 15 is stored in this memory block, and 10 will be stored in some other memory block. Suppose 10 is stored in this memory block. Somewhere it will be stored at the random memory block. Now what we have to do is, once we read the data, we have to perform, it will be stored in memory block, and now we have to read those two data from the memory block and do the addition operation. In order to read this data, we have to find the address where this data has been stored. Where this data has been stored, we are not aware of. See, somewhere in random location it has been stored, but we don't know the address of these locations. So there will be an address, but we are not aware of it. Suppose let the address of this be 100, 200, 300, 400. I'm giving some random addresses. These are not the specific addresses. Randomly, I'm giving the addresses. So this is address location 700, 800, 900, 1000 like this. Random at certain particular random address, these data has been stored. We need to get that data from that address location, and we need to perform the addition operation. So not only this data, any data if you want to store, it will be stored at random location. At random location, it will be stored. For that random location, there will be an address. Through that address only, we can access that. Now, 10 is stored at address location 100. We don't know that. We need to get that data 10 using this address. How we can get that? That can be achieved using variables. Variables are nothing but address locations. So whenever we are reading some data, 15 or 10, it will be stored at a random location. At that point of time, we are assigning that data to a variable. That means to a particular address location, we are saying that go and store this data at that particular location. Suppose if I am reading A is equal to 15. A is equal to 15 means this data 15 will be stored at a particular random address location, and to that address we are assigning a name. We are assigning a name called A. So now this A means the address location of 15. A will hold the address location of the data 15. A means the address location of the data 15. Now B is equal to 10 means B holds the address location of data 10. That means B holds the address location of 10. That means B is 100 now. So holding the address, we call them as variables. The one which holds the address location of a particular data, those things we call them as variables. So A is a variable, B is a variable, that these two are holding the address locations of data 15 and 10. Now, if I want to add these two things, I can simply write A plus B. A means here the data at address location 100, which means the data at address location 800, which means 15, plus B means the data at address location 100, which is 10. So this is how I'm storing the data and I'm retrieving the data using the variables. Variables are nothing but the address locations given to a data. The address locations in the memory that is given for a particular data. So these two are data. We call these two as data. We are storing it in the memory. And in order to get that data back to perform any operation, we can access it only through the address locations of where this data has been stored. So in order to get that address, we use variables. Variables are nothing but the address locations where this data has been stored. So now A will hold the address of data 15, B will hold the address of 10. Now, if I want to fetch, how I can, so these are stored in memory. Now I want to get the data. How I can get the data which is stored at address location 800? Just simply write A. A will get the data which is stored at the address location 800. If you write A means it will return 15. If you write B means it will return the data which is stored at address location B, that is 100. At address location 100, what is the data that is available? 10. So it will return you the 10. This is how the data is stored in memory and how we can access it using the address locations through variables, and how we store the data and how we get the data. This is the process. So we can store the data and get the data using the variables. Is it clear, all of you, what is a variable?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is an identifier? We studied just now. Identifier means the naming convention, the rules that we follow for giving the names to these variables. So now as of now, I have given A and B. So what are the rules that we need to follow? It should contain either dollar or underscore. This is not mandatory, but if you want to use any special characters, alphanumeric characters, you can use only dollar or underscore. Suppose if I want to use the name like this, ABC asterisk is equal to 20. Now, what does this mean? Variable ABC asterisk is the address location of data 20. Suppose 20 has been stored here. Let this address location be 1100, and to this 1100 address, I am assigning a variable called ABC asterisk. Is this a valid variable name? Is this a valid variable name? ABC asterisk, like this. If I am giving a variable name like this, is it valid one? Is it the correct one? Variable name. I'm giving a name to the variable. Here I have used A, B, simple letters A and B. Now I want to use the variable name as ABC asterisk. Can I use like this? No, because what does the identifier say? You should not use special characters other than dollar or underscore. If you use any other special characters, it is not a valid valid variable name. So your Java will not allow you this one. We will not allow any other special characters apart from dollar or underscore. So apart from dollar or underscore, you cannot use any special characters, alphanumeric characters in your variable name. Suppose you can use like this, ABC dollar. This is the valid one because dollar is a accepted new alphanumeric character. So you can use dollar or you can use underscore like this. These two are valid, acceptable names for a variable. But asterisk or any other special character like this, asterisk or hash or @ symbol, so these are not valid because identifier will allow only dollar and underscore. If you want to use any alphanumeric character in the name of a variable, then you can use only dollar or underscore. Apart from that, if you use any other alphanumeric character, it will throw you an error. And the next rule is for naming the identifiers. This is the first rule that we have to follow. The second rule is any name should not start with a digit. That means if I want to give the name like this, suppose 123 ABC is equal to 40. That means this is my variable name, as name to the data 40. Suppose 40 is stored at this memory location. To this address, I'm giving a name like 123 ABC. This is what I'm trying to do. But is this valid? But as per the rule, what does the identifier say? As per the rule of this, what does the second one say? It should not start with the digits. That means it should not start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it should not start with any of the digits. So this is an invalid way of specifying a variable. You should not start with a digit. At any cost, it can start with either alphanumeric or a alphabet, but it should not start with a digit. This is not the valid way of specifying a variable name. If you specify like this, it will throw you an error. So this is the second rule that we have to follow while naming a variable. While naming a variable or a method or a package or a class. So this is the second rule that we need to follow. Now the third one is, what is the third one? It should not be a reserved keyword. Suppose, one second. See, Boolean is a keyword. Now, if I want to give the name of a variable as a keyword, suppose I say Boolean is equal to some 30. If I say like this, so 30, let me store the data here. And to this address, I'm giving a name variable Boolean. Is this a valid one? No, because Boolean is a predefined keyword. I should not use that predefined keyword as a variable name. This is the third rule. You should not use a reserved keyword as a variable name, even though it is following the other two rules. So it is not, what is the first rule say? It should not contain any other alphanumeric characters apart from dollar or underscore. That is satisfied. What is the second rule? It should not start with a digit. So that is also satisfied. But it is a reserved keyword, so we should not use this one as a variable name. Your Java will not accept this one. It will throw you an error. So these are the three different rules that you need to remember when you are naming a variable or a method or a class. Variable is nothing but the address of a particular data which you want to store in the memory. So at random location that will be stored. If you want to get that data back in order to perform any operation, you need to get it through the address. So that for that address, you are giving a name. You don't know, see, I have written here. So you'll know, madam, it is stored, 10 is stored at address location 100. No, you can directly use the address location 100 is equal to 10. You can get it like that. But these are not known for us. So in the system's memory, where this 10 has been stored, that we are not aware of it. I gave the random address locations. I'm assuming that 10 will be stored in 100. So that is why I'm giving like this. But in practical, We'll not be able to know where this data 10, 30, 40, 15, and 20, all this data will be stored in the memory. I'm not aware of these address locations. I just gave the random address locations like this. And so in order to, so I have stored this data in a particular random location. Whenever I enter some data, it will be stored in the memory location at somewhere at some address, it will be stored. In order to get that data again, whenever I want, suppose now I want to access this data 10. How can I get that? Because I don't know where this has been stored. So in order to avoid that issue, we use the concept of variables. Variables means, so whenever you want to store some data, I use the variables. I say A is equal to 15. What does this mean? A is a variable. This holds the address location of where this data will be stored, where the 15 will be stored. This variable will hold that address. So now A will hold the address of the memory location where this 15 will be stored. Now, if I want to use this 15 again anywhere in my, I want to use that data 15 again in my program. So how can I access? I can access it using this name because I have already stored the address of where the 15 will be stored. So I can simply use this variable A. So it will return me the value which is stored at the address location A, 800. So what is the value stored at that address location? 15. So it will give me the data. Is it clear, all of you, what is a variable? Any doubts in understanding what is a variable? Okay.
No.
Okay. Now let's see something different. Okay. Okay. Now I'm writing like this. A is equal to 20. This is equal to 5. X, Y, Z is equal to 10. And now I want to do this one, A, B, C plus X, Y, Z minus E. Can someone tell me what is the result of this one? So like, please tell me what are the variables here?
-5.
So what are the variables here? What are the variables that I'm using and what is the data that I'm using here? So tell me what are variables and what is the data and what is the result?
Variables 20.
Variables?
No, variables is A, B, C, X, Y, Z.
Okay, A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Good. These are the variables.
And data is 2510.
20.
Okay.
Okay.
25, 10. What is the result?
5.
-5.
Minus 5.
-5.
Okay, good. Good. Now, so we understood what are variables and what is an identifier. Identifier is nothing but the rules that we need to follow while giving the names. I can give any random names like this here. So instead of, so one more variable, let me define like this, dollar $XYZ underscore is equal to 15. So here one more variable. So I can use this alphanumeric characters. So these are the rules that we need to follow while giving a name. That rules we call them as identifiers. Okay. Now, what is the data type that we are storing? So till now we have discussed. So this is an integer. 20 is an integer. 5 is an integer. 10 is an integer and 15 is an integer. So whatever data till now we have stored is integers. So there are we need to specify one more thing here, which means data type. What is the type of the data? What is the type of the data that we are storing? Data type. So as of now, what we have stored? Only integer data. Till now, whatever we have discussed here is only integer type of data. So we need to, whenever we are defining some variable like this, a is equal to 20, we have to define the data type as well. What is the data type that we are going to store? So here primitive, so basically we have data types like integer, character, string, float, double, short, long. We will see one by one. Integer means integer data like 10, 20, 15. These are integers. So integer means we are storing the integer data. So how we have to specify it? Before this variable name declaration, we have to first specify the data type. Int a is equal to 20, int abc is equal to 5, int xyz is equal to 10, int $xyz underscore is equal to 15. This is how we have to specify a data. If you want to store some data in your machine using Java, this is how, this is the syntax. This is the syntax. Syntax is nothing but the rules. This is how you have to specify in Java. If you want to store a particular data like 20, this thing you have to follow. The data type is integer and the name you are giving to the address is a, variable a, and this is the data that you are going to store. And for if you want to store integer value 5 in your system, this is the thing that you need to follow. If you want to store 10, this is the thing that you need to follow. This is the integer. Now, if you want to store a character, suppose A, this is the character that I want to store, B or Z. So if I want to store characters like this, then what is the data type? Char is the data type and variable name is same. And so these are the characters that you are going to store, right? So how you will be saving how you will be accessing is char ch is the variable is equal to, suppose I want to store the Z character. Characters we always enclose in single quotations. For integers, we don't need to use any quotations or anything like that. But for characters, you need to enclose them in single quotations. You have to use single quotes. That means character. If you're using single quote means it is a character. So the data type, so what you want to store in your system? Z is the character that you want to store. The data type is char and the name you are giving to the address location is ch. So this is the variable. This is the data that you want to store. What is the data type? Character. The data type is character. We are storing a character, single character. So any character it might be capital A to Z, capital Z or small a to small z. Any character, if you want to store in your system, this is the syntax that you need to follow. Any character, if you want to store it in your system, this is the syntax that you need to follow. Now, what is a string? String means group of words. In English terminology, I can say a word or a sentence. String is nothing but in English terminology, a word or a sentence. That we call it as a string. So if I want to store, this is demo. If I want to store this, strings we need to enclose in a double quote. This sentence I want to store in my memory. Okay. So this is what I want to store. For this, I am giving a variable name str and the data type, whatever data I want to store in my memory, the type of that data is string. So data type, this is the data type, this is the variable, and this is the data. This is how the syntax we are going to follow. Is it clear? The first three things, integer, character, string. Now the float. Float means decimal values. Suppose I want to store 20.552. Suppose I want to store this floating point, decimal values. Then I use this float. Now how can I define float? F is equal to 20.52. No, for integers or floating numbers, no need to enclose them in single quotes or double quotes. For character, you need to enclose them in single quote. For string, you need to enclose them in double quotes. Float is the data type of the data, F is a variable, and 20.52 is the data. So this is how you are going to do. These are the four primitive things: integer, character, string, float. Now, what is this double, short, long? We will discuss. Is this four clear for all of you? Integer, character, string, and float. Integer is for numbers, numeric numbers. Character is for single characters from small a to small z and capital A to capital Z. String is nothing but a word or a sentence. Float is nothing but a decimal value. How we need to follow the syntax while storing these kind of data. Now let us see what is double, short, and long. Double, short, long. Okay. Suppose integer a is equal to 20. This is my memory location. Okay. If I do like this, in some particular block somewhere here, suppose let me say that 20 is stored at this memory block. The address for this will be 100, which will be captured in variable a. Okay. Now, will this 20 be stored like this directly? No, because system can understand only bits and bytes. Bits. What is a bit? Either 0 or 1. Only these two digits only the system can understand. If you write 20 like this, it will not be directly stored in the system directly like this. It will be stored in the form of binary digits called zeros and ones. So now how this 20 will be converted into zeros and ones and how it will be stored in the memory. So first we need to convert it into decimals. Divide it by, take LCM with 2. 2 10s are 20, 0. 2 5s are 10, 0. Remainder is 0. 2 2s are 4. Remainder is 1. 2 1s are 2. Remainder is 0. So take it like this. 20 will be converted into decimals like this. So how it will be converted? 10100. So now it will not be stored 20 like this. It will be stored 10100 like this. 10100, which means 20. And let the address location, it will not be changed. Sorry for that. I cannot write here. So I'm writing one line below that. The address will not be changed. But the way it stores, it will not be directly stored as 20. It will be stored like this, 10100. And to this, let the address location be 200 and it will be assigned to A. So 20 will not be directly stored like this. It will be stored in the form of zeros and ones, bits. We have only 2 bits, either 0 or 1. So in the form of zeros and ones only, the whatever data you enter, it will not be directly stored. Even a character also. Char CH is equal to Z. If you write like this, Z will not be directly stored. It will be converted into zeros and ones and then only it will be stored. Okay, so we can it will not be directly stored like this. It will be stored in either zeros or ones. So in order to store 20, how many bits are required? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So to store 20, a simple integer 20, we need 5 bits. 5 bits of memory location is required. Okay, now 20 is an integer which requires 5 bits of memory. Integer will hold the data up to, okay, this is a bit. What is a byte means? Byte is 8 bits of memory. Until 8 bits, you can store it in a byte. If it is more than 8 bits, so if it is 2 bytes means 16 bits. 4 bytes means 32 bits, right? 1 byte holds 8 bits of data. 2 bytes means it holds 16 bits of data. 4 bytes means it can hold 32 bits of data. 1 byte means 8 bits. So until 8 bits, a byte can hold the data. So if suppose if my data is let me write 2000, it may need 8 bits of data. In order to store this, more than, it may be more than this also. I'm just writing an example. 2000 may contain more than 8 bits, suppose 9 bits. I'm writing just an example. I'm not doing any calculation. Roughly, I'm saying 2000, if it needs 9 bits of data, then can we use a byte to store it? Because a byte can hold only 8 bits of data. If it is more than 8 bits, can a byte hold the data? See, 20 can be stored in the memory using 5 bits, 10100. So 20 can be stored using 5 bits. So if I want to store 20, instead of int, I can use a byte as well. Just use the data type as byte. Data type and variable name A is equal to 20. You can use like this, because a byte also can hold the data up to 5 bits. But suppose if I want to store data which needs 9 bits of memory, 9 bits, suppose 1001 So how many bits are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this data is containing 9 bits. Can I store it using a byte? No, because byte can hold only 8 bits. If it is more than 8 bits, I cannot use the byte. Integer can hold data up to 4 bytes. If it is more than 4 bytes, integer will not work. In that case, I have to go and use long. Suppose long variable A is equal to 2 lakh, more than 2 lakhs. I'm writing some numbers like this. So can integer hold this data? No, because integer can hold data only up to 32 bits. If my data contains 32 bits, until that point of time, I can use the integer. If it is going more than 32 bits, I cannot use this integer. I have to go and use the long. Long is the data type. A is the variable, and 2 lakh is the, so whatever the number I have entered, this is the data. In order to store this data in memory here, it may need more than 32 bits. In that case, I cannot use this integer, because integer can hold only up to 4 bytes of memory. Only 4 bytes of memory only integer can store. If I want to store more than 4 bytes, that means more than 32 bits, then I have to use long. I have to use long. Long can hold the data up to 8 bytes. Integer is 4 bytes, long is 8 bytes. So if it is less than 4 bytes, suppose my data can be stored in less than 4 bytes, that is in 2 bytes only, I can be able to store my data. In that case, no need to use the integer. You can go and use the short. Short we will use this data type if the data is can be stored in less than 2 bytes. 2 bytes, which means 16 bits. If you are able to store your data within 16 bits, then no need to go for integer also. You can store it using the data type short. Short, long, and int. All these three will store the integer type of data. But based on the length of the integer, that means how many bits you are going to use to store that data, depending on that, we use either short or long or int. Short can store data up to 2 bytes. 2 bytes. Long can store data up to 8 bytes. Integer can store data up to 4 bytes. Is it clear, all of you? Any confusion? Is it clear, all of you? Okay. So all these three, short, long, and int, they hold integer data only. But the difference here is If you want to store data which is whose length is short, like if you want to store 20 itself, no need to use integer itself. You can use short also, because this data 20 can be stored within 5 bits. So why to waste? If you are defining, see how it happens internally is, if you are defining like this, integer a is equal to 20. So based on this data type, so data type integer means it can hold up to 4 bytes. So 4 bytes of memory will be reserved. These are the 4 bytes. 4 bytes of memory will be reserved. So if you are defining the data type as integer means 4 bytes of memory will be captured. That if, but your data which is 20, it is going to take only 5 bits. So here itself it is going to store. That means 3 bytes of data is getting wasted here. So if you are defining 20 like this, 10100 is going to store here in the first byte. This is first byte, second byte, third byte, fourth byte. If you are defining like this, 3 bytes of data memory is getting wasted here, right? Because to store 20, I can go with short or byte, because it can be stored with using 5 bits only. 5 bits of memory, using 5 bits of memory, I can store this 20. Why to go and use the integer and waste this much of memory? Is it clear now? If I'm defining short xyz is equal to 20. So my data type is short. So what will happen internally? Short can hold up to 2 bytes, right? So 2 bytes of memory will be reserved. This is the first byte. This is the second byte. Now 20 can be stored using 10100. So in the first byte itself, I'm able to store this 20. This 1 byte of memory is getting wasted here. If I define byte like this, byte xyz is equal to 20. Byte means 8 bits. So like this, 1 byte, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in this 8 bits, so how I'll store? Like this, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. 1, 0, 1, 0, 0. So this is how I'm going to store. Is memory saved or not when compared with integer, short, and byte? So 3 ways of defining integer is valid. So this way is valid. I can define it this way, I can define it this way, and I can define it this way. But we have to see that how much memory we are efficiently using the memory. So if I use integer 3 bytes of memory, I'm going to waste, because this 20 may not need that much of memory to be stored. And here, if you use short, it is going to take only 1 byte, and the other 1 byte is going to be wasted. If I use byte, I'm going to efficiently use the memory location. I'm not going to waste any memory here. So depending on the length of the integer or length of the thing which you are going to use, based on that only you have to use the data type. Clear, all of you? Is it clear, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the same thing for double. Double is for floating point. Float can store data up to 4 bytes. Float can store, that means decimal value up to 4 bytes, whereas double can store up to 8 bytes. So depending on the length, you can go with either float or double. Float and double both can hold the data floating decimal value. Decimal values only, these two will hold. But depending on the size, you can go with either float or either double. Float can hold data up to 4 bytes, whereas double can hold data up to 8 bytes. Character can hold data up to 1 byte. Character. So if you search in Google, you will get the how much capacity you want. So that will be there. So character can hold data up to 1 byte. More than 1 byte, character cannot hold, because that is enough for character, because we are going to store A to Z, and capital A to Z and small a to Z. 1 byte is enough. So character can hold 1 byte. String is separate thing. That is a class, not a keyword. So we'll discuss about strings later in deep. Okay. As of now, character, integer, float, the memory locations, you understand these concepts. Rest we will discuss for a string. So today we have discussed what is a byte, what is double, what is a character. These are predefined keywords. So if you are using this char means you have to store the data of that type. So what is a float, what is long, what is short. So these keywords we have discussed as far. Any doubts in these things? If you want to discuss, we'll discuss it. Otherwise, we'll move to the next concept. Anything till now, whatever we have discussed? Okay, we'll move to the next concept, which is we have discussed what is an identifier. Now, access modifiers. What are these access modifiers? Now, whatever code we write in Java, we will write it within the block, within open curly braces and close curly braces. This we call it as a block. Within this block only, we will write our code. Access modifier means till what point this particular, so whatever we are writing here, till what point where it has to be visible and where it has to be not visible. In simple words, I can say, if I want to make something visible outside this block, what I have to do? If I want to make this visible only within this block, what I have to do? That means hide the data or show the data. If I want to hide the data only within this block, what I have to do? If I want to show it outside the world, what I have to do? So access modifiers are nothing but how much level I can showcase my data, or if I want to hide the data, what I have to do. There are 4 types of access modifiers: private, default, public, protected, and public. Private is nothing but if I am defining anything, any variable, suppose this is my variable integer a is equal to 10. Okay, this is my variable. If I making it private means, so before this I use the specify the access modifier. This is access modifier. This is the data type. This is the variable, and this is the data. This is how I have to use the syntax, proper syntax, access modifier. So if I am defining any variable as a private variable, that will be visible only within this block. Within this block, it will be visible. Outside the block, if I want to use this variable a, if I am using the variable a plus 20 here, it will throw me an error. It will not allow me because it will not fetch the data which is stored at address location a, because it is private to this block. We cannot use it outside the block. Outside this block, if I am using that means it will throw me an error, because this variable is accessible only within this block. It is private to this block. It is a private property. It will be accessible only within this block. Outside this block, if I am trying to access this variable, it will throw me an error. If I use internally like this, a plus 20, here it will return me the output. It will return me 30. This is valid. But if I am trying to access this data, this variable outside this block, it will throw me an error, because private is hiding the data, hiding this variable value outside this block. It is visible, it is permitted only within this block, only within these 2 curly braces. If you are using this variable means it will allow you, but outside this block, if you are trying to access this variable, private variable, it will throw you an error. Private means it will keep the data only within that block itself. It will not allow that data to go out of that block. It will not allow you, it will not allow the data to go out of that block. That is private. If you are using, so if you want the data to be only within this block, then you have to use the access modifier as private. Private is the access modifier that you are going to use if you want to hide the data from other methods or other blocks. We'll see one by one what is a method, what is a class. Okay, is this private clear, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now as of now, you don't worry about what I am writing, just concentrate on what is a class, what is a method. Okay, suppose this is my class ABC, this is the block. Okay, now in this class I'm writing a method, public static void main. Don't worry about all this terminology, we'll discuss one by one. As of now, I want to show you about this access modifiers. Okay, this is the main method block. Okay, private means if I'm declaring any variable like this, private int a is equal to 10 means it will be accessible only within this block. So within what curly braces I have written, only within that block this will be accessible. Out of this block, if I'm writing a plus 20 here means a plus 20, it will throw me an error because this private integer is accessible only within this block. Here it will throw me an error. Okay, now let us discuss what is default, what is protected, and what is public. Yeah. Let me create. Okay. While writing the code, what we follow is we maintain packages. What is a package? Within this package, we define our classes. Within these classes, we define our methods. This is the hierarchy that we follow. What is a package? What is a class? What is a method? We will discuss all these things going forward. But as of now, you remember that this is the hierarchy. First is our package. Package is nothing but a folder. In simple terminology, I'll say it is a folder. It is a folder where we keep all the related data. Suppose the data related to say some example like you're studying about selenium. So you name a folder as selenium, and all the data related to selenium, whatever you gather, that you will put it in this folder, right? Similarly, a package is nothing but a folder where you store all the related data. So this we call it as a package. All the data related to your selenium, you will put it in this folder. So inside this folder, you will have classes. Inside this package, you will have classes, and inside this class, you will have method. Method is nothing but a task or an operation. So if you want to perform any addition operation, addition is a task, subtraction is a task. So all this we store it as a methods. All these methods, we put it in a class, and in that all these classes we maintain in a package. This is the hierarchy that we follow. Method is nothing but a task or an operation. Package is a folder, and we store all these methods in a class, and all these classes related to a particular thing, related to a particular flow, that we put it in a particular folder. Suppose you are studying about Active.js or Reactive.js. This is again one more technology. So you will put, so if you are reading about Reactive.js, you want to know about Reactive.js, you will create a folder for that, and there you will store all the stuff related to this technology. So this folders you maintain for one specific reason. So for all the Selenium related data, you will put one in one folder. All the reactive JS related things, you will put it in some other folder. So the same way, for a particular task, whatever you want to maintain, so package is nothing but similar to folder. In that package, you will have classes. In classes, you maintain the methods. These methods are nothing but the tasks, whatever you want to perform or operations. Package is nothing but the folder. Now, you will have in real-time project, you will have multiple packages. Suppose this is package A and this is package B. Okay. Here you will have multiple classes, like say class XYZ1, here class XYZ2. Multiple classes you will have within a package, right? Class 2. Here also class ABC1 or class ABC2. Multiple classes. You will have in package A, you will have multiple classes, and in package B, you will have multiple classes. Now suppose in this class block, I am defining a variable as, so we need to discuss now default, protected, and public. Okay. So default means any variable, if you are defining in a particular package, suppose default means if you are not specifying any access modifier, then it is default. Int a is equal to 20 means I'm not defining any access modifier here. That means it will act as default. So the scope of default is within that package. So if you are defining any variable as default means it can be accessed anywhere in this package. Out of this package, suppose this is default. So now outside this package, in package B, if I'm trying to access this variable A, if I'm trying to access this variable A plus 10 like this, it will throw me an error because this is a default access modifier. It can be accessible only within this package. Under this package A only, I'll be able to access this. Under package B, I'll not be able to access that. So if I want to hide this variable outside the package, outside this package, then I will use the default access modifier. Default access modifier means you can specify like this: default int A is equal to 20, or if you simply, if you are not specifying anything, then also it will be a default. Just if you simply declare int A is equal to 20 means that is also default access modifier. If you are using this keyword default, then also it is a default access modifier. The scope of default access modifier is, that is, if you, for any variable, if you are defining the default access modifier means the scope of that variable will be only within that package. So here I can be able to access it. A plus 10, it will allow me because class XYZ2 is also under this package. So within this package, in any class, I can be able to access this variable default variable. I'll be able to access, but outside this package, if I want to access it, it will not allow me. Clear all of you? Default, hierarchy, package, class, and method. Is it clear all of you?
Yes.
Okay. Now the next one is protected. Suppose this class, whatever is there in package B, it is acquiring some characteristics of the class which is in package A. That means class ABC in package B, sorry, class ABC in package B is a child of class XYZ. This is package A, this is package B. These two are different packages, but
Can you please open the new page?
okay. Okay. Let me write it here. Package A, package B. Here class XYZ1. This is the class here. And here it is class xyz2. Okay, here it is class, sorry, class ABC1, class ABC2. Okay, this class ABC2 is acquiring the properties from this class which is in package A. That means this is a child of this class XYZ. So suppose in class XYZ there is some particular method, and this method ABC is acquiring it. That means it is this ABC2 is a child of XYZ. So this is a parent and this is a child. We will discuss this concept, what is parent and child. For now, you remember. So if it is a parent and if it is a child, if parent is in package A and child is in package B, and now I'm defining the variable like this: protected int A is equal to 20. And here if I'm defining using that variable A plus 10, it will allow me, because this is a child of XYZ class. So whatever protected variable I'm defining in this class, I will be able to access this one in this child class. Even though it might be in package B or any other package, but still I'll be able to access this protected variable, even though if it is in another package. This class should be a child of this class. XYZ should be parent and ABC should be child. In that case only I'll be able to access this variable A. Here also I'll be able to access within the same package. It will allow me, but as this is independent class, it is not related to this XYZ class. It is in separate package. Here if I try to access this, in this class if I try to access this, it will throw me an error. As ABC2 is a child of XYZ, in this class I am defining a protected variable, protected int A is equal to 20. In that case only I'll be able to access this A variable. If I'm trying to access it in the package B, the package B class ABC1, it will throw me an error because this class is not related to this XYZ and it is outside of that package. So here I'll not be able to access this one. It will throw me an error. So that is protected. Got the difference between default and protected? Default means within this package, package A, anywhere you can be able to access it. But outside that package, it won't allow me. But whereas it protected, within that package, I'll be able to access. But outside the package also, if you want to access this, it will allow you if the classes have parent-child relationship. If this is the parent and this is the child, then only it will allow you to access. Apart from that, for the rest of the classes, it will not allow you. That is the protected. Now, finally, public. Public access modifier means anywhere you can be accessed. Anywhere you can access that one. How you can define is, suppose here I am defining in this class public int B is equal to 20. And now I want to access it here, B plus 20. It will allow B plus 20. It will allow. Here if I want to access B plus 20, it will allow. Anywhere you can access. Public, it is public to everyone. It is public to everyone. It will not hide anything. It will allow you to access the data anywhere. Clear all of you? Access modifier. Now once if you see this table, you will understand. These are the access modifiers: private, default, protected, and public. This is the class within the package, outside the package, everywhere. So private, it will be accessible within the class. That means within the block only it will be able to, we'll be able to access it. And in rest of the cases, it will not allow. If you want to hide the data from anyone for any other classes or any other packages, then better go with private. Okay. The next access modifier is default. It will be accessible within that class, within that package. Outside that class, outside the package, it will not allow you. Protected means within the class, within the package, outside the package, yes. Only if it has parent-child relationship. But everywhere, no. Whereas public, within class, within package, outside the package, and everywhere, yes. If you want some news to be highlighted everywhere to the public, so then you go with public access modifier. If you want to access any data everywhere, then you go with public. If you want to hide the data, then go with private. And if you want to showcase the data to everyone, then go with public. Is it clear? Access modifier. Don't worry, like what is this class package outside the pack? So what is a method? So once you start coding, you will get to know. But these are the basics that you have to understand before going to coding. So that is why it will be a bit confused as of now. Whatever we have discussed till now, it will be confused. But going forward, you will understand each and everything. Don't worry about it. Once we start coding, you will get to know. Okay. Access modifier means if you want to hide the data or if you want to make the data available for everyone, based on that requirement, we specify the access modifier. Clear, all of you? What is a keyword, what is an identifier, and what is an access modifier? Keywords, we have not discussed everything today. We have discussed only few of them. Boolean, I forgot to specify this one, Boolean. Boolean means either 0 or 1. This is also a data type. I'll show you. So we have seen now integer, short, long, double, like this, right? The same way we have the data type as Boolean. Boolean means it will store either 0 or 1. Boolean A is equal to 0. Boolean A is equal to 1. It will store only 1 bit of memory. 1 bit, either 0 or 1. Either true or false. 0 means false. 1 means true. Boolean will store 1 bit of memory. If you want to store 1 bit of memory, either true or false. Either true or false. That means 0 means false, 1 means true. So 1 bit of memory, if you want to store, then we can use the Boolean. 1 bit of memory Boolean. 1 byte means 8 bits. So short means 2 bytes. Integer means 4 bytes. Character means 1 byte. So depending on a requirement and data we want to store, we can use these things. So Boolean, we have seen byte, character, class, we will see. Just I gave you an introduction, what is a class. We will see it going forward. Double we have seen, float we have seen, int we have seen, long we have seen, private we have seen, protected also we have seen, public we have seen, short, and void we need to see. That we will discuss in the upcoming class. Don't worry about that. Any doubts till now? All these keywords we will discuss one by one. Don't worry. Once you start the programming, you will understand what is the importance of these keywords. Don't worry. For today's class, it will be confused, but going forward, definitely you will understand. Okay. Now, data types. Two types of data types are there: primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Primitive means, like till now, whatever we have discussed, like Boolean, characters, integer, long, string, long, short, float, double, and byte. Non-primitive means based on these data types, whatever string is a non-primitive data type, means based on this primitive data types, we create few more data types. Those things we call it as non-primitive data types. Those are called arrays, interface, class, and string. We will discuss what are these things. Once we discuss these things, you will get a clear understanding. As of now, There are two types of data types. One is primitive and non-primitive. Basic data types, we call them as primitive. From this basic, if we are able to create complex things, then we call them as non-primitive data types. Some examples of non-primitive are string, class, interface, and array. We will discuss them. Is it clear, all of you? In today's session, we have discussed about keywords, identifiers, variables. What is a variable? And what are the access modifiers? And what are the data types? Is it clear, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Last, we'll wind up with this program. If you want to take the screenshot, you can take it. Or if you, so this is how we define a class. This is the method. And here we are defining an integer variable whose access modifier is default. And system.out.println means anything if you want to print as output, anything if you want to print as output, we will put it in system.out.println. It doesn't do anything, but just prints the value. Whatever we are giving here in this bracket, it will print that value as output. So just try this program for today. We will discuss it tomorrow. So here at line number 4 will print the value of A. What is the value of A? It is 10. So at line number 4, it will print 10. And again, at line number 5, we are defining one more variable, I is equal to 5. This is also default. And now we are trying to do at line number 6 something for this variable I, that I want to demonstrate it. But before explaining this thing, if you do some R&D and if you come up with some doubts, I'll be very happy. So for that reason, I'm giving this program. Before I'll explain this each and every line in tomorrow's session, but still I want you to do practice on this program for tomorrow's session. System.out.println means it will print something in the output. This is, so we are defining the variables like this, and I'm doing some calculations. These are mathematical calculations, which I'm doing it here. And finally, I'm printing the value of A. After these operations, what will be the value of A? So I just want to demonstrate that. You will have online Java compilers. So if you search here in Google, if you search Java online compiler, you'll get a lot of online compilers here. If you click on any of this link, any of this thing, you can go. So I'm using this one, online compilers. So you can simply write your program like this system. So in this simple program, they are trying to print some value, which is the value hello world. If you click on this run button, it will print the output hello world. So system.out.println means if you want to print something in the output, that we will specify it here. So whatever is written here, that will be printed in the output. Okay. Now so what you will do is, this is class, this is main method, whatever class name, whatever method you want to do, you give it. But this piece of code, you write it here. Instead of this, you try to write it here and run this program and see the output, whatever is printing here. So get some basic knowledge on what I have done here. We'll discuss it tomorrow. We have discussed yesterday we have discussed a few things like what is a variable, what is a keyword, what is an identifier, and what are access modifiers. We discussed theoretically what are these things. So variable is nothing but, just we'll go through what and all we have discussed in our previous session. Variable is nothing but address location of a data. Location of data, whatever we are storing. Keywords, these are predefined. These are defined by Java, predefined words which have a specific meaning. With specific meaning. Identifier means rules, naming conventions. The rules which we follow for naming a variable, or class or a method. So these are the naming conventions, naming rules, whatever we have to follow while naming any thing. So, and what is an access modifier? To specify the scope of a variable or a method. So whatever it may be. So access modifier means scope of a variable. Scope means until which location, until which point the variable will be visible. That means it will specify the visibility of a variable. In simple words, I can say visibility or accessibility of a variable or a method So these are the points which we discussed in our previous class. This is the brief about what and all we have discussed in our previous class. So let's see one by one with examples. So in a program, we'll see one by one. Okay. So this is the Eclipse. Let me know if you're able to see the screen. Eclipse is a platform where it will help multiple applications to integrate each other. So we have to work with Java. If we want to connect to database, we have to connect with a database. So Eclipse is a platform where it will help you to easily integrate, to collaborate all these things in a particular place. So it will help you to connect to Java. It will help you to connect database in a single platform. So previously, how it was like, we used to write our program. So we used to write in our program in a notepad and save it as a Java file. So write our code in a notepad or Word, whatever it might be, and save it as a .java file. So .java file, we used to save the file, and then how using the command prompt. So run command prompt. 1 second, I'll show you. So here in command prompt, we used to compile it and execute it. One second. So in command prompt, we used to run this program. And if you want to connect to database, again, it is a different, we have to do it separately. This is how we used to work previously before Eclipse. But after Eclipse, you no need to write your code in separate notepad or anywhere else. Save it as .java file or run through command prompt. For running this code, whatever you have written, you have to open the command prompt. So this is the command prompt where you will run some commands. Like in order to compile or execute the program, you have to write some commands. So all these things you have to do separately. Each and every task you have to do it separately. But Eclipse is a platform where you can do all those tasks here itself. So it will allow all the applications to collaborate here. So that is one thing which main advantage why we go for Eclipse. So here itself you can write the code, you can write your code here itself, you can run the code here itself, you can connect to the database, everything you can do it from here itself. So that is the one main thing with why we go with Eclipse. Instead of writing our code in a separate notepad, run it different in a separate application, and for connecting to the database in separately. So all these things, in order to do it separately. So in order to avoid that, we go with Eclipse itself. So here, this is the Eclipse application. So
I'm able to see only whiteboard, I think.
Whiteboard only. Okay, so think, let me show this.
Yes.
Yeah.
How it is.
Okay, sorry for that. So this is an Eclipse application. So if you see, I have opened this Eclipse. At the bottom, you can see this is the application Eclipse. So if you open here, so it will have lot of features here. If you go to file, so it will allow you to create any new thing like Java project, package, class, interface, everything. So in file itself, you can create any Java project. So if you want to create any Java project, you can create like this. So we'll see one by one. No need to go in a hurry. So let's see one by one so that you will get familiar with each and everything. Okay. So if you want to open any file, or so this file, in file generally what and all will have, like creating a new thing or open recent things. So all these things will have. If you want to refresh the project, or if you want to import the project from somewhere else, so that also you can do it. If you want to export, you can do that. If you want to switch the workspace, so now currently I'm my workspace means it is a place where all my project related data is available. Suppose if I'm working in two or three different projects, I can switch my workspace. I can switch from one project to another project. So this will allow you to switch from workspace from one project to another project. So currently I'm working in this location. This is my only workspace. I haven't created anything. But if you are installing Eclipse for the first time, it will ask you where your workspace location should be. So you can define it wherever you want, but generally don't change. So it will, by default, it will give you a location. So don't change that location. Take the default one, whatever it is suggesting. So it will be easy for any, in future, if you want to change or modify anything, it will be easy for it. So this is for restarting the Eclipse. So these are the main features in file menu. Mostly we'll be using these things only. And Vishnu will help you in installing this Eclipse, whatever softwares are needed for Selenium. So Eclipse, he will guide you how to install it, and Java also, he will help you how to install it and configure it. These two things Vishnu will be collaborating with all of you. So if you have any doubts, you can just contact Vishnu, or you can ping me in WhatsApp also personally. We'll be guiding you how to install and configure these things, Eclipse and Java. Apart from that, meanwhile, what you can do is you can, yesterday we have seen, right? You can connect to any online compilers. Like if you search here Java online compilers, so until you configure all these things, meanwhile, if you want to do any programming, so you can search Java online compilers in Google. So you'll have a lot of online compilers available there. You can try with simple programs here. So you can write your code here. You can just click on run and you can see the output here. Okay, so until you install the Eclipse and configure with Java, so you can run your programs here. So that is the thing which I can suggest. So in this weekend, you have Saturday and Sunday. So in these 2 days, you can configure the Eclipse and Java. So let's see one by one. So let me start with creating a new Java project. I have an option of creating a Java project here, or I can go to the file, new. So if Java project is not available here, don't worry, click on other. For me, it is available there. For you, if it is not available, click on other. And here you can search with the Java project. So you can find it here. Click on it, select it, click on next. Okay, here it is asking to provide a project name. So let me give Java Basics. So this is my project name. So don't change anything. See, automatically here it is taking the Java version. So it is, whenever you create a new Java project, it is automatically identifying the Java version which is available in my laptop. So it is taking the version of it. So we no need to configure Java or run through command prompt. Nothing is needed. So Eclipse will take care of everything. So it will collaborate with what and all, like Java or database. So, or any other application. So if you want to collaborate it at one place, Eclipse is the best thing which we can do. So here it has identified the Java which is available in my system. So don't make changes to any other things. Just give the project name. Click on next. Okay. So this is the structure. How it is going to create our project. So Java Basics is the name. In that it will be going to create one folder which is called SRC. We will see what is available in that. So click on finish. So module name, create. Okay. So this is the simple Java file it has created. This is the hierarchy. See, if you see, this is the project which we have created, Java Basics. So in package explorer, in this particular thing, we will see what and all projects we have created. So Java Basics is the project name. And here, whenever we create a Java project, it will automatically download all the library files. So all the files, so these are all the predefined classes and methods which Java has already created, all of them. So for us, it is not needed to write the code from the scratch, because Java has already created certain programs for us, which we can use them directly. No need to create anything from scratch. So these are the already predefined classes which Java has provided for us. Whenever we create a Java project, it will automatically import all these files. It will automatically import all these files to our project. We will see which and all we are going to use going forward. So from these already predefined classes, we will be using few things that we will see how we are going to use. Okay, so this is the these are the already predefined classes. If you want, we can use from these predefined. Otherwise, we can write our own code. Okay, this is the Java library files thing, and here we are going to write our scripts. So this is the source folder which it has automatically been created. For now, let me delete this one. I don't need this module info.java, so I'll delete this one. And we are going to create our own program. So now we have seen a hierarchy yesterday, right? So the first one is the package. So in package, we are going to create a class, and in class, we are going to create a method, right? 1 minute, I'll show you. I'll write it again. Okay. Yesterday, we have seen an hierarchy. Package is the first thing. In package, we are going to create a class, and in class we are going to create methods or variables, whatever it might be. In methods, we are going to create here itself you can create a variable, or inside methods also we can create variables. So this is the hierarchy we are going to follow. So all these things will be available in the project. As of now, we created a project, Java project we have created. This is done. Now we have to create a package. So package name, how we are going to give is, so all the things which are related to a particular flow which we are going to work, that will be under a single package. In that package, whatever classes we want to add, we can add. And in that class, whatever methods we are going to add, we can add it in that method. What is a method? Method is nothing but a task or operation. Any particular task we are going to do, that we are going to put it in a method. Okay, let's create a package. Let's create a class and method. Now right click on this. So wherever we are going to create a package, select that folder, right click, new. So here we have a package. If you are not able to see the package over here directly, go to other and search for package. So here you will be able to see a package. Click on next. It will ask you to give a name. So this is the path where it is going to store. So Java Basics in source folder, we are creating a package. So here I'll write basics. Okay. So basics package I'm going to create. Click on finish. Here, see, package has been created. In this package, I'm going to create a class now. Suppose in future, if I'm going to, if we start working on OOPS, Java OOPS concepts, I'll create a separate package with the name OOPS. If I'm going to write some programs on collections, Java collections, that is a different topic. So I'll create one more package for collections. We'll going forward, we'll see. So let me create one more package so that it will be easy for you to understand. So separate package for Java OOPS concepts. All the programs related to Java OOPS, I'll be putting in this package. Okay. And let me create for one more topic. So Java collections. So all the programs related to Java collections, I'll be putting in this package. Okay. So as of now, we are discussing just basics. So I created a basics package. And in this package, I'm going to create a class. So new class. Here it is available. If it is not available, click on other and search for that. Okay. As of now, for me, it is showing here itself. I'll click on this class. So one thing what you have to remember is the naming conventions. The class name should always start with a capital letter. The class name should always start with a capital letter, and it will be stored in the form of a .java file. I'll show you what it will have. So let me create variables. So this is a demo. This is the class where we are going to write some examples for variables. So I'm creating a class with the name variables. And here you will see a checkbox for public static void main. This is the method name. Okay. So I'm clicking this one, selecting this one, because every program, the execution starts from this main method only. I'll tell you going forward. So select this checkbox, public static void main string args. So select this one, click on finish. Okay. So this is the package basics. This is the class variable. This is the name I have given for a class, for my class variables. And this is inside this class, we are creating a method called public static void main. Why we are creating this method means, okay, let me show you. Okay. So there are two things that we need to learn before running a program. So one is compilation and the other one is execution. What is this compilation and execution? Compilation means checking for any mistakes or syntax errors. Syntax means formulas, like how we have to write a particular thing. If it is not in that way, then we call, like in English, in simple words, I can say in English, we call grammatical errors, right? The same way, compilation means if there are any errors in the the process which we have to follow to write any particular thing. Like so inside a class, I have to write a method. If I'm writing any method outside this one, outside a class, then it will show me error. See, if you see here, if I try to write something before this before a class, if I'm trying to write any method, public static void main, if I'm trying to write like this, it will show me an error. If you see here, it is showing some error, syntax error on token. So any errors, if you are not following any rules and writing anything, violating some rules, then whatever errors you get, those we call it as syntax errors. So that we call it as a compilation error. So this will be taken syntax errors. This will be taken care by compiler. Compiler will take care if there are any grammatical errors in the code which you are writing. The compiler will show you automatically. So this is the error you are doing. So correct it. Unless all the mistakes are cleared, then only you won't go to the next step, that is execution step. So compiler will take care of all these syntax errors, And then once all the errors are cleared, then only you can go to the next step, execution. Compiler will do two things. Compiler will check for any mistakes in your code. And the second thing which compiler does is, this is the first thing which compiler does. It will check for any mistakes in your code. The second thing which compiler does is, whatever code you will be writing here, it will be stored in .java. See, I just gave variables, but it is stored in .java file. If you see here, .java. So whatever code you write, so if you want to run it using the Java, it will be stored in .java. So what this compiler does is, whatever code we write in Java file, it will be user understandable. So whatever we have written here, we can understand what is written here. Public static void main public class. This is a class, this is a method, and this is the package. It is user understandable, but it has to be converted into mission understandable. So, but the computer doesn't understand whatever is written here. See, it cannot understand this is a class, this is a method, or whatever it might be. It cannot understand this directly. So it has to be converted. It has to be converted to mission understandable language. So user understandable code has to be converted into mission understandable code. Mission understandable code, sorry, standable code. Mission understandable code. So this task will be taken care by the compiler. It will convert. So if once there are no mistakes in our code, if our code is free from any syntax errors, no syntax errors, nothing. So then the compiler will convert this user understandable code into mission understandable code. This mission understandable code means it will be converted into .class file. So now we have created variables.java. So once it is converted to mission understandable code, it will be stored in variables.class file. If you open this file, I'll show you how the .class file look like. I'll show you this file. It will not, you cannot understand what is written in this .class file, because it will be like, it can be understandable only by mission. We cannot understand it. How this conversion is happening inside, no need to worry about it, because the compiler will take care. So we don't need to worry about it. Just for your understanding. So .java file is user understandable code, and .class file is mission understandable code, which the compiler helps us to convert. So once the conversion is done, it will be stored in .class file. Generally, to hide the data from any particular user or anything. Suppose whatever code I have written, I don't want others to understand that code, whatever I have written. So what I'll do, I don't give them the .java file. I'll just give them .class file. I'll give them the .class file if they want, and I'll tell them this class has these many methods and it will do this particular task for you. So I'll tell them what this .class file does, so they can use this .class file. I'll tell you how we can use also. Don't worry about it. Why we convert these things and why we give only .class file is, so if you open here, if you open the JRE library, all the things will be in .class only. So, so they also have created, this is a Java compiler. This is the package JavaX annotation processing. So if you go here, it will give only .class files. If you see, all these are .class files. They won't give you .java files. Why? Because if I know what is written in this .java file, I can create the similar piece and I can claim that this is my code. So in order to hide what the implementation, how they have created this methods, they will give only .class files. In order to hide the implementation, they'll give only .class file. Here, these are the methods. Okay, let me try to show you for string so that you will understand. For hiding purpose, hiding the details, what is written in that class, they won't give you the .java file. They'll give you the .class file. And how you can use the methods in that .class file, I'll show you soon in the upcoming classes how we can use that. I'm trying to show you the regularly used one. Let me check. See, this is the string.class file, which is available in java.lang. Let me open. This is a predefined one. Java.lang. Where it is there? This is SQL, XML. So it should be there. Why this package is not shown yet? Java.lang. Yeah, here it is there. If you see here, this is the package java.lang. In this package, if you come down, these are all the predefined which Java has provided us. So in that, if you see, string is a particular class, string class. So that I have opened here. So in this class, if you see, you cannot understand anything. They have written in some, so you can read them, but how they have implemented. So for a particular thing, how they have implemented anything, you cannot understand this one. They'll be using what some the logics which they want to use, but we cannot understand them. But you can use all these methods in your program. If you want to use these methods, you can use them. We will use them going forward. I'll show you when we are working with string. So you can use all the methods which are available here, but the implementation part, how they have done, you cannot understand them. So this is the .class file, how it looks like. I'll show you how we can use the methods in this .class file here going forward. Okay, so this is the compilation part, which the compiler does. These are the two different tasks that a compiler does. And the next one is execution, how to execute our code. Once the code is free from errors and it is converted into .class file, this .class file, we will run it. We will run the .class file to see the output. If you run this .class file, we will get the output. These are the two different tasks that you need to remember. That first one is the compilation. The second one is the execution. Once the compilation is success, then only you can execute. If there are any errors, you cannot run the program. It will not show you any output. It will not allow you to run itself. Okay. So these are the two things that you need to remember. Compilation will be automatically done because if there is any mistake in your program, it will automatically show you the error here. So that errors we call as compilation errors. Okay. Now let's see the demo for one thing. So what is this line? Line number 7. This is called as comment line. So if you want to tell the user what I'm going to do here, that you can write it in the comment lines. It doesn't have any, so at runtime, it doesn't have any meaning, but for user understanding so whatever I'm going to write here, what I can give just a one-line description here. So if you see any line with 2 forward slashes, that means a comment. I'm going to give on what I'm going to do in the upcoming lines. So this is a dummy line, I can say, just for user understanding purpose, what I'm going to do here, that I'll write it in these 2 lines. So now I'm going to write a demo for integer variables. So I'll write like this. So I'm going to write a demo for integer variable, examples for integer variables. So I have written a comment line like this. Now let me define integer variable. So we have seen yesterday how to define an integer variable. So first is access modifier. So private, I'm going to use private. I want to hide the scope here itself. So private int a is equal to 10. This is how I am going to define an integer variable. So why still it is throwing error? I have written everything in a perfect way. Private is a access modifier. Integer is the data type. A is a variable name, and the data which I'm going to store is 10. So I have given correctly, but why still it is throwing an error? If you see here, syntax error, it is showing you suggestions. Insert semicolon to complete block statements. So every line, in each and every line in Java, it should end with semicolon. It should end with semicolon. Then only that line will be completed. You are writing in the next line. So if you are not ending it with a semicolon, then it will throw you an error. So syntax errors, so this Eclipse will not only show you the errors, but it will give you the suggestions. So what you have to do, what you have missed. So all the suggestions also will be given here. So if you see here, again, it is showing an error, illegal modifier per parameter, only final is permitted. Why? Because, so you cannot use the private here. Why we cannot use that? We will discuss going forward. For now, I'll use the default access modifier. Why it is not allowing private in a static method? Why it is allowing only final? That we will discuss it in the upcoming session. For now, let me use the default access specifier. I have created one variable, integer variable, int a is equal to 10. Now let me create one more variable. I can create it like this, int b is equal to 20 like this, or simply I can give a comma over here. Comma, sorry. Comma, b is equal to 20. Both are valid. So instead of writing two lines, I can, in a single line, I can create two variables. So these are the two variables I have created, integer variables. A is equal to 10 and b is equal to 20. So these are two different variables. Now what I want to do here, I want to perform the addition operation. So what I will do, a plus b. This is what I want to do here. So a plus b. What is it? Oh, okay. Now I want to assign it to a result variable, int sum. So sum is equal to a plus b. So this sum variable will now hold the data, which is the output of a plus b. So now first this arithmetic operation will be evaluated. That means a value will be replaced with 10, b value will be replaced with 20, and these two this arithmetic operation will be completed first, evaluated first. So 10 plus 20 means 30. Once this is evaluated, and the final value will be assigned to this variable. Now sum will be equal to 30. Now how can I tell that sum is properly evaluated? So what I'll do is system.out.println. System.out.println. Now I'll print the addition of a and b is. Now what I'll do here, I'll print plus sum. I'm printing the value sum. So this is a string, the addition of a and b is. So after that, what I'm printing, sum. So if I declare like this, sum means whatever is stored at this address location in this variable, that value will be printed. So system.out.println means, if we are using this, means we are printing something in the output. So let me run this program. So as of now, I could see no compilation errors. Our code is free from errors. Now I can run this program. So how to run the program? You can see the green signal symbol over here. So click on this one, run as Java application. So if I run this program, here at the console at the bottom, you can see the addition of a and b is 30. So whatever is stored in this variable, sum variable, that will be printed here. So variables should not be enclosed in double quotes, but strings can be enclosed in double quotes. So this is a variable, so I'm not enclosing it in the double quotes. And why I have used this plus symbol is, after printing this one, I want to print something additional. So I have used the plus symbol. Now after this sum also, if I want to print anything else, I can do that. So how I can do that? Just use the plus symbol. Plus, in addition to this, I want to print something else. So what I want to print here, the addition is completed. So save this one. For saving, you can do in two ways. This is the option to save, or else just click on Ctrl S. The program will be saved. Now run this variable. No need to click on this run as Java application every time. So for the first time, you need to do this. From next time onward, just click on that green symbol. That is enough. So for now, I'll show you like this. See here, the addition of A and B is 30. After that, I want to print something. So I use the plus symbol. Then the addition is completed. This message got printed. Is it clear, all of you? Any doubts till now? How to write a program, how to simple program, and how to run a program. What is system.out.println and how to define an integer variable and why we are using this plus symbol, and how to print the value which is stored in whatever variable. Suppose if I want to print what is stored in A, how I can do that? Just here I'll write plus A. Now see the output. So let me save it like this. Click on this button to save. Now run this program. See. So the value stored in this variable A, that is printed here, 10. So if you want to print the value which is stored in a particular variable, just give that variable itself directly. Don't enclose it in a single quote or double quote, whatever it might be. Don't enclose it like that. Just give that variable name. As this is a string, see, this is a sentence. So I am enclosing it in a double quote. I want to print that one in the output. I want to print this string in my output. So I have enclosed in a double quote. And after this string, I want to print the variable. So I have used the plus symbol, gave the sum variable. Again, after this time, I want to add some other string. So I gave plus, I printed this string. Again, if I want to add any other variable or whatever it might be, I can just use the plus symbol and use it. Till this part, anyone having any doubt? Or I can proceed further. This is the simple addition operation that we are performing here. Simple addition. If you want to do any subtraction, I can just give minus B here, A minus B. This is the arithmetic operation, A minus B. Okay, so now let me save this program and run it. So there won't be any change in the strings. There will be only change in the variable sum, because A minus B is minus 10. So this sum variable will hold minus 10. So there will be only change in this part. There will not be any change here or anywhere. So if I want to do multiplication, so whatever I want to play with these two variables, I can do it here. So any doubts till now, or I can proceed further? Is it clear, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is about integer variables, how to define an integer variable and how to play with this. So instead of defining one more variable here and printing that value, what I can directly do here is, let me comment this line. I don't want to use this line. Just directly, I can write A plus B here within brackets. Within brackets, why I'm using brackets means, I don't want to get confused with this plus and this plus. This plus is to add the variable, add anything to that particular string. But this one is for arithmetic operation. This is for arithmetic operation. And this one, this plus, outside plus, and I want to add something to that statement. So after this statement, I want to append something to this string. So that is why I used this plus. But this plus is different. This is for arithmetic operation. Got the difference between these two? Why I used brackets is in order to separate this plus and this plus. This is for adding something to the end of a line. So this is the statement which I am printing in the output. After this, I want to add something else. So for that, I use this plus. But this one, I want to do arithmetic operation for these two variables. So that is why I enclose them within the brackets. Now let me run this one. I commented this line. Or let me remove this one. Both are same. Okay. Now let me run this program. See, the addition of A and B is 30. So how we got, so generally how it has to print the value of A and the value of B. But as I have enclosed them in brackets, it has performed the arithmetic operation A plus B, and finally it has appended like this. So if you see the difference here, if I used plus A, and plus b like this. Now see the difference. So what is the difference if you add the brackets and without brackets I have used at the end? Let's see the difference. See, if I use the brackets, it has performed the arithmetic operation. Here at the end, I didn't use any brackets over here. I didn't enclose a plus b in a bracket. So what it has done, it just printed the values of a and b. Okay, so that is the difference. If you use the bracket, it will perform the arithmetic operation, or otherwise it will just add to the statement. So this is about the integer variables. Now let's see about the floating variables, how we can define and how we can use them. Okay. Now let me use float. Let me give a variable f is equal to 10.5. Okay. Why it is throwing error? Okay, this is double. This is double and we are not, it is showing is what it is showing, type mismatch, cannot convert from double to float. I have declared it as float, but it is saying that it cannot convert from, this is double and this is float, whatever we have defined. So it is saying we cannot convert from double to float. So let me change this to double. Yes. So double f is equal to 10.5. Okay. Now let me perform the arithmetic operation, something like this. System.out.println. The addition of floating variables is, now what I will do, plus within brackets I'll add a plus f. So this is the variable a and this is the floating variable f. So for these two, I want to perform arithmetic operation. So 10 plus 10.5, which will give me the output of 20.5. So I can do it this way as well. Let me save this one and run this program. So the addition of float variables is 20.5. This is my output. So let me differentiate these two. How I will differentiate is, okay, let me run it now. So this is for integers, the first one. I added a new line, and here this is for floating variables. So generally, if you add an integer to a floating point number, the output will be a floating point number only. So if you want to store the result in some variable, double result is equal to a plus f. A plus f. So if you add an integer and a floating point number, definitely the output will be a floating point number. So that is why I'm storing this result in a double variable. And let me print the double result over here. Okay, let me save this one and run. Yes, see, if you try to mark it as an integer, it will throw you an error, because if you add an integer to a double, definitely the output will be a floating point number, and if you are trying to store it in integer, it will show you an error. So what it is showing is cannot convert from double to int. So it will not be able to convert. So the output is in double, but we are trying it to store in an integer. The data type which we are giving is int, but here the output, the result is in the form of a double, because when you add an integer to a floating point number, it will be definitely a double variable. If you try to store it in an integer, it is throwing an error. So what I have to do, I have to store it in a double variable. Is it clear till now? Any doubts in floating variables?
No.
Let's see for Boolean. Boolean variable. Boolean will store only one bit, right? either true or false, either 0 or 1. It will store only those two. So let me define any Boolean variable. Boolean flag is equal to either true or false. It will store only these two things. It will store either true. True means 1, false means 0. It will store only these two things. Okay. Before going to Boolean variable, I should start with strings. Oh, sorry, character variable. Okay, char. So I'll discuss about this Boolean later with some examples. But before that, let me discuss about the character variables. So character ch is equal to, I want to define it like this. So now this ch holds a character n. So ch holds a character n. Now if I want to print this one, system.out.println, this is the character stored in ch variable. If I print ch, save this one. This is a warning. No need to worry about warnings. If it is in red symbol only, you have to bother about it. Warnings, even though if you have warnings, you can proceed. So if I run this program, so this is the character stored in ch variable n. It is printed in the output. Okay, so this is how we store the characters. And before going to the next concept, let me discuss about ASCII code. So what is an ASCII code? If you search in Google, so it will give you a list. ASCII stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange. What does this mean? So each and every character, so even for alphabets, it will have, sorry, I'll open the other one. Here it is, ASCII table. Okay, so for each and every character, even for 0, 1, 2, 3, sorry, not this one second. Yeah, symbol. Okay, same keyboard, what and all keys you have. So what and all keys you have for everything, left shift, vertical, so delete button, everything, caps lock, everything, for everything from 0 to 9 alphabets, for plus symbol, for multiplications. If you see this one, this where I have kept my mouse, if you see there, for each and every character, what and all you have in your keyboard, for each and every symbol, you will have an equivalent integer value. Equivalent integer value. Suppose if you want to use this capital Z, so instead of that, you can use this integer 90. You can use that integer 90. Now I have, in our example, I have seen this character n, small letter n, but instead of that, I can use this 110. Both will give me the same result. So let me show you that one. So instead of n, what I can use here is, so let me comment this line. I can use char ch is equal to 110. Both are same. Both will give me the same output. As of now, what it has printed in my console, this is the character stored in ch variable n. So if I run this program now, even if I give 110 also, but of type data type char, the data type should be char. If I give int, it will print 110. But if the data type is char, then only it will convert this integer into equivalent character value. So now if I run this program, see, there is no change in my output. It will still print the character, which character equivalent of this integer. So ASCII means whatever keys you will have. So for all these things, it will have an equivalent integer here. Equivalent integers. So if you want to store capital S, so you can give 83. For W, capital W, 87. Even for integers also it will store. Whatever keys you have on the keyboard. Like for 0, it will be stored in the form of 48. For 1, 49. So if I give 49 over here, char ch is equal to 49. What it has to print? It has to print 1 in my output. So let's see that one. See, it didn't print 49. But if you use integer type, data type, it will print 49. It will print 49. But if you use char and give an integer, ASCII code integer, this should be ASCII code. ASCII code integer, equivalent integer, then it will print based on this table. Based on this table, what and all equivalent values we have, that will be printed. Why we need to use this ASCII codes? Going forward, we'll see. Okay, these are the equivalent codes, ASCII codes we have. This is the universally accepted code table. So for each and every character, you will have an equivalent integers. So you see the first one is null character, starting of heading. So you can see the description over here. For each and everything, you will have an equivalent integer. Okay. So this is the basic thing. So in our next session, we'll discuss about strings. And we'll discuss about the Boolean in our next class. So did
One-
anyone try that program, exercise program? Did anyone get a chance to work on that? Today you try these things in Java compiler. If you have not installed any Eclipse or Java in your machine, no worries. You can try these lines in any Java compiler. You try these things, work on what and all things you can work. Like just give a try and error. You can play with the variables. What and all you want to do, you can do with these variables. Just try these things today. So in our next session, we'll see on what is strings, what is how we can define the strings and how we can play with the strings. And we can see the Boolean also, Boolean data type also in our next session. And we'll discuss the exercise program in our next session. So till now, if you have any doubts, you can ask.